Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel if anyone's still watching. It's been a while since I posted a few videos. Sorry about that. I wish I could get back into it, but not a lot of inspiration lately. But one thing that has interested me to make this video is this new book that I bought off of Amazon. It's called the Crash Bandicoot Files. If you're a big Crash fan like me, you probably are aware of this book. It's a basically the production notes that Naughty Dog had during the production of the very first Crash game. So it's more than just concept art. There is some concept art in there, but there's also some really interesting details as to what they were thinking and how they planned about making the game, which is the main reason I bought this book, because I like concept art, but I really like knowing how the game was made, because I'm thinking about making a game recently, although don't hold me to it, I may give up on it, but it's something that's interested me right now. So basically, why am I making this video? I read it the other night, read it cover to cover. Not a lot of big words in it, so it didn't take me that too long. But there's just some things in here I thought that if you're a Crash fan, you'd be interested in seeing. Some things you may have already known, some things maybe not. Anyway, I'm not going to show you the whole book, obviously, but anyway, I'll take a brief tour of the things I thought were kind of cool. So yeah, on front cover already some interesting images. Maybe I get it more of an aerial view holding this with my hand. Alright, so what the book's about. Here's a foreword by Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin, creators of Crash Bandicoot. So basically what they took is this binder here that you can see it's an image of a binder, and basically they just scanned the binder. As you can see, it was called Willie the Wombat at the time. To basically whatever was written in that binder is now in this book. So you'll kind of get an idea what's going on. So yeah, there's the general outline, deadlines when they needed to make, what thing by what time. The story, which is the script, which is very different from the actual game. Maps, anyway, you can read that. I'm not going to read it for you, but anyway, so here's the deadline, so you can see just all what they needed to do and by what time they needed to get it done, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, so these two sides are almost the same. Basically how the levels were going to be laid out, whether or not they were 3D or 2D, what bosses, comes in what direction. Here you can see that you got 3 cavern bonus levels that never made it into the game. One of my favorite parts was the script here, where it actually tells you, excuse me, that intro animation that we all remember from Crash 1, that if you sit on the pause menu, not the pause menu, but the startup screen, if you don't do anything and it plays that intro cutscene that tells you what's going on, that's very different. It's very different from what's happening in here. Cortex, Tawna, and Crash were intentionally going to speak, and as you know, that only one of them ends up speaking in the game. Brio speaks, but I didn't read Brio here actually. I don't think Brio speaks in the script here. I don't remember him speaking, but anyway, that's interesting. Yeah, so apparently there was going to be a lot of influence of movies in this. Anyway, so here's the map. Here you can see that it was called South Padre Island, South Sanity Island, North Sanity Island. Islands look more or less, they're not the same, but they still retain some of their, like the second island here. Well, the first island is the native village. The second has the big waterfall, and obviously the power plant and Cortex Castle is on the third. But yeah, it's somewhat similar and somewhat same in other aspects. This was one of the big things I wanted to basically cover. This was one of the main reasons I'm making this video. So it actually points out where the levels and where the levels are on each island and where the bosses are. So apparently we're going to have a beach, jungle, village, and then a boss on the first island, which apparently now is here, called Gilligan's Island. I'm not sure how the copyright was going to work out there because of the TV show, but at any rate, there was going to be an underwater level where you would go through a cruise ship. The beach part, there was going to be a boss on the waterfall, which was going to be Ripperoo. First boss is Papu Papu. obviously. Then you'll make your way up to the big tree where you would have fought Koala Kong, which is different. And then you would make your way down to the caverns and the temples, where you would fight, I believe, Komodo Mo and Komodo Joe, which were called Komodo and Kimono upon originally. And then there'd be another underwater level where you basically are underwater and you get to look through an old World War II bomber plane, which I thought would be kind of neat. More jungles. There's the bridge part, obviously. Already different from the original game. Then you go through the cavern, and for some reason, the next boss is in the cavern, which was Pinstripe. I thought that was kind of strange putting Pinstripe in the cavern, but whatever. Then you have the power plant aspect, which, if you remember in the first game, the power plant was on the other side of the bridge. And then you'd have the snowy mountains, the snowy caps. After that, there's a sewer level. So apparently, the sewer level was sorry about the shaky camera. You were gonna have a mountain level and a sewer level, and then Tiny was actually supposed to be in this game, which here he's just called Tasmanian Tiger. He was going to be a boss there, which I think right around the snowy caps. So that'd be kind of interesting to see what that boss would have been like. Then there's a dungeon level, and then you fight Brio, and then you would have gone to the castle, and then you would have fought Cortex, which they have him as Needy Brio here. I'm not really sure. I didn't really know that. We know now that the N stands for nitrous or nitrous or however you pronounce it. It's pronounced nitrous, but in the game they may pronounce it nitrous. I'm not sure. They like to mispronounce words. But here it's Needy Brio, which I thought strange. Basically, the maps, round goals, which they weren't called levels, they were called rounds for some reason. They basically explained, what was supposed to be done in each round or level, what the purpose of the level was. Here they have a map of one of the underwater levels I thought was kind of neat. I'll let you pause the video and look at it more in detail if you are interested. Here's a waterfall level, which I think they made, but they didn't put it in the game. And I don't know if it looked like this in the final. It probably didn't, but at any rate, a waterfall level I thought would have been kind of cool, but at any rate. And of course, there's the Cortex Castle, one of my favorite concept arts of the whole game. You see you got the blimp up at the top and the castle itself. Whatever this thing is that I like. More islands and stuff. I'm not going to show you all this stuff. If you're interested, I recommend buying the book. This book only cost me about 20 bucks off of Amazon. I would have liked it if some of these were in like colors. I like this picture of this cave here, this crystal cave. Minecart. There was going to be a part in the game where you'd be in a minecart and roll around on these tracks. There's the bomber plane in the water. A lot of interesting stuff that never really came into fruition with this game. The sewer level. And I've also noticed after reading it that Crash 2, like a lot of the stuff from Crash 2, really was just rejected material that didn't make it into Crash 1. Like, for example, Komodo Mo and Komodo Joe. There you can see the, not the Evolver, but the Cortex Vortex, that's what this is. And there's what it looks like on the inside with a bunch of TV screens. I just love this concept artwork, which if you're following my channel, you know I like to draw. But yeah, like what I was saying, like a lot with the Crash 2 stuff, it was basically, I think, a lot of it was rejected, or not rejected, but material that they couldn't fit into the first game, like Tiny and the Komodo brothers, the sewer level, obviously, the snow levels, sewer level, obviously, was in here. There's a picture of the castle. More castle stuff. Here's some more artwork. I'm going to skip ahead here. Okay, so here we're getting to the characters. So, Willie the Wombat, better known as Crash. There's a bio about him, basically. They were going to have him speak in the beginning. There's some Charles and Billis artwork. Great stuff. Here's his butt on fire. Literally, it says butt on fire. More stuff. Anyway, so there's his animations that they were going to have. They have a bio of him in here. Interesting stuff. There's Tana, or she was known as at the time as Carmen. I'm not really sure why they changed some of these names, but I mean, I like Tana better than Karma, or Carmen, excuse me. Anyway, there she was. Here she is. Cortex is obviously Cortex. I love this picture of Cortex. This is the one I drew. This one was used a lot in later manuals. Great stuff. There he is creeping on you. There's his bio. If you ever pause this video and read this if you're really interested, because Cortex's bio is very strange. It's like it never really appeared in the game or any game for that matter, but it's a strange little biography. And then Brio has an interesting one too. There you can see he doesn't have his bolts in his ear, or not his ear, but his head. And there's the picture I drew. I'll let you read that. It says, "Oh, my aching head," which is more of a Cortex line. Down there, signature by Charles Zimbillis. I think that was April 1995, maybe? Maybe? I'm not sure. There he is, drinking a potion and him turning into a beast. Oh, I skipped a page here. I know I wasn't going to show you the whole book, but anyway. When he first turned, you know, into the Brio monster, as they call him in the book, I thought that was insane. These are really cool drawings of him here. There's just different varied. Brio is just an interesting character, you know, like he's diminutive. He's got like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type personality, which I think is interesting. In Brio, his history, not as interesting as Cortex's, but also quite fascinating. Papu Papu, or head native, however you want to call it. No bio for him in here, unfortunately. And then they have the henchman, Ripperoo, great character. You have Koala Kong, bios for them in here too. Komodo Mo and Komodo Joe, which were known as Komodo and Komono at first. They had to be scrapped and put in the second game. And here, Tiny, just freaking amazing. I just love these artistic drawings of him. I mean, look at that. I would have loved to have seen him in like the game that they're describing in this book. I halfway wish existed, because there's a lot of stuff in here that was removed. Anyway, I skipped Pinstripe. I can't skip him because he's my favorite boss in the first game. Maybe of all the games. I just like his personality. But Tiny's, yeah, like I kind of wonder just exactly what this game would have looked like if they couldn't have, you know, cut some of the stuff out. There you have some underlings. A gorilla, an iguana, a koala bear, a white hyena. Interesting stuff. I'll skip ahead here. Here's a big compilation image of them all there. You can see Aku. Aku was an actual human being. Cortex, without his side, the hair on the side, I don't know why they didn't put that there. Brio's also not in this picture, to the best of my knowledge. I don't think he is. But Tiny is. Controls tell you what buttons do what. Here are the actual rules of the game. Like, for example, we'll read the first one here. Willie walks until he reaches full momentum. If Willie touches a yin yang yuck, then he collects it and it's stored in his register. So there was going to be a lot more collectibles in this first game, or the original game. Like I said, I can't go into great detail here, but I gotta tell you, it was worth the 20 bucks I spent. More rules. Here's how the Witch Doctor gameplay, which in the actual game you know how it works, but it was going to be different. Let's see here. Controls, more voodoo masks, which is a collectible here. Like there were different types of masks, like a freeze mask, speed mask, magic mask, stuff like that. Skulls and flowers that you could collect that would give you like certain abilities. Let's see, registers, like other collectibles, like you could collect these letters. And maybe you guys can tell me what some of these are. Like, I know dog comes from Naughty Dog. UIS is probably Universal Interactive Studios, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm looking through the camera, so I didn't get it on time. MCA, what does that stand for? Someone tell me. Fruit, you could collect different types of fruit, which they eventually switched to just the Wumpa fruit. Icons you can collect, stone blocks, switch items. So interestingly enough, there's no mention of crates in here. That was kind of like I remember reading that was like a last minute thing. Anyway, native warrior monkeys. So these are like what I can't remember. I don't know what they're called, but they're like the little enemies that run back and forth that you can jump on, like skunks and plants and whatever. More stuff, and then blank. Sorry about that noise. Different little icons that like a legend for when they were mapping out the game. And you can see here, I think that they were starting and then they realized like the game was going to be changing quite, you know, really fast, so they just gave up on it. Secrets, hidden areas, you can see they didn't really hash it out. I think at this point in the production they realized the game was going to be so much different. I think they stopped. That's just my speculation. Sound effects, I'm not really sure what they were going to put here. These are the lyrics to the Crash Bandicoot canceled cartoon series, which you can watch on YouTube. So these are just the lyrics for it. Not really sure what this is. I think this is like a big fold out thing from the folder. And that's basically kind of what I showed you at the beginning of the video. It's more or less the same. And then the castle, more castle, and then I think that's it. This last image down here. Not really sure what that says. Stroller Tower? I don't know. Anyway, there's Cortex and there's Willy. Crash. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Interesting stuff. Haven't read the back part here yet. Interesting little book. I highly recommend it, not just shamelessly plugging it. I really like this book, and I recommend any big Crash fan check this book out. If you're interested in like how the game was made, which if you're watching this video you probably are. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, do all that good stuff. Have a good day. Bye.